So, when Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous was first announced as a Netflix original, many people were skeptical that the show could do justice to the Jurassic Park franchise. After all, the show was gonna be animated and star children? Isn't Jurassic Park all about the jump scares and the blood and being super intense? Well, actually, none of those things are missing from the show, especially since its rating is TV PG. And it's not like the original Jurassic Park was the film that popularized the use of CG animation or anything. But the pinnacle of Camp Cretaceous is reached when it introduces the primary villain of Season 3, the long-teased Scorpios Rex. Though we caught many glimpses of it before its introduction, it's the grand reveal of this horrifying dinosaur hybrid that is one perfect animated scene. Before we go any further, yes, this show is the one that's making me break my 2D cartoons only rule. But isn't the third dimension technically your second channel? Why are you using that intro here? Just hush, just let me talk about a cartoon that I like for a second. We'll straighten out the lore later. Anyways, here's the context for our scene. Since season 1 of Camp Cretaceous, it's been teased that Dr. Wu has been working on some pretty shady stuff even before the development of the Indominus Rex. And one of his most dangerous early experiments was known only as the mysterious E750. As he planned on expanding his research into the territory of hybrid dinosaurs, there had to be a first. And in season 3's 4th episode, Clever Girl, we finally learn about the Scorpios Rex. The first successful hybrid dinosaur fusion, it was known to be incredibly unstable, in addition to having such an ugly appearance that it caused Masrani to label it unusable for the park itself. While proud of his creation, Dr. Wu recognized that it was very problematic and quite dangerous, and decided to put it into cryo-freeze indefinitely. However, the show has been teasing the appearance of the Scorpios Rex for a while by the time we get to the 5th episode of season 3, Eye of the Storm. Kenji pushed a button that caused the cryo chamber the E750 was stored in to crack, and then the power grid went out due to some compies, and we saw the cryo freezing start to melt even further. We saw teases of the E750 roaming the island, and a lot of the plot deals with the fact that the dinosaurs in the island are no longer acting normally. And when I was watching all this for the first time, in the back of my mind, I thought, this is gonna have to be one crazy dinosaur to deserve all of this buildup and hype. Oh boy. We finally hit Season 3, Episode 5, and are immediately teased at the start of the episode with the E750 killing another dinosaur after stalking it from a tree, using its thermal vision to track it. Throughout the episode, our core cast of campers, say that 5 times fast, core cast of campers, core cast of campers, core cast of campers, core cast of campers, core cast. Our core cast of campers is out and about. Ben feeding Bumpy, Brooklyn and Sammy running back to camp after discovering about the E750, Yaz and Kenji packing and searching for Ben, and Darius taking a quick break to observe the Gallimimus, his dad's favorite dinosaur. This all comes to a head when Darius learns about the E750 being loose from Brooklyn and Sammy, and they realize it's time to get off the island. While contacting the others, they realize the supplies were not yet packed because of a situation with Ben and Kenji. I feel like I'm explaining this a little poorly, but basically, one bad thing after another was happening. Ben was having an existential crisis about how none of them would be friends after they got off the island, which in turn caused Yaz to believe the same thing, and kinda lash out at Sammy about how they were never actually friends. Darius is upset with Kenji for being lazy and not packing, as usual, and when it all comes down to it, their plan to leave immediately to escape a potential Scorpios Rex attack is cut short by a storm that makes the boat unusable. The sky has been darkening all episode as lightning and thunder begin. They're all stuck with each other. The only option is to build up the fence and have things ready for when the storm is over. After electrifying the fence thanks to the discovery of a working car battery, they're prepared to weather out the storm. But then, we hear it coming, and the scene begins. We hear the Scorpios Rex roar as the kids rush into the treehouse to escape it. Remaining in shadow, it kills a few dinosaurs outside the perimeter, as the kids anxiously hope it won't notice them. The rain falls on the electric fence, catching the eye of the Scorpios Rex as its vision is largely thermal-based. The closer it gets, the more we see of the monster. We peek through the dinosaur's own view. The kids are safer now. As it moves closer, it brushes against the electric fence, causing it to jump back and attempt to hit the fence again. Upon failing to breach it, the kids look out to see if the Scorpios is a danger anymore. But they've revealed themselves now. The Scorpios can sense their heat signature, and it kills for sport. In a grand, disturbing reveal, we see the Scorpios in her true form, something that eerily resembles a human in posture. She lets out a deafening roar as lightning strikes, and then disappears. As the kids freak out, unable to see where she went, this terrifying shot pans up on Darius as we see the Scorpios Rex climbing a tree like no other dinosaur we've ever seen. This is an abomination. And then it attacks. As the kids try to escape, the Scorpios Rex is distracted by a tree that caught on fire after being struck by lightning. It observes the flame with an unwavering fascination. This allows the kids to get to the lower level undisturbed, but no sooner have they gone down than the fire's been put out by the storm. The chase continues as the Scorpios Rex jumps down, knocking out Sammy, who joins Yaz on the ground. The rest of the kids continue to run, only to realize that they're trapped in their own electric prison. As they back up as much as they can, the Scorpios Rex approaches and lets out a disgusting, intimidating, saliva-filled roar. Right as it's about to eat the kids, it hears another roar from deep in the jungle and decides to go pursue it instead. The kids, grateful to be alive, question why the Scorpios Rex left, and then discover that Sammy has some of the dinosaur's poisonous quills left in her. And as she begins to pass out, the episode ends. Yeah, so they definitely toned down the Jurassic franchise for this show. All joking aside though, let's take a look at what makes this scene great. First and foremost is the storyboarding. The use of so many different techniques to convey the horror of this creature is brilliant. From slow pans and depth of field shifts, to placing the camera low to the ground to heighten the size of the creature, to the sheer just epicness this reveal has.
One of my big things that I really love to do is kind of pay attention to the scale of like the different creatures and the dinosaurs, keeping the camera low and like making sure that there's like size references to everything. Because like even let's say you see a dinosaur in real life, the main thing that you're going to take away like at the beginning is how big it is. And I really like love just keeping that in mind and making sure it hits the audience like this is a big like thing.
The second great thing is just how groundbreaking this is for 3D television animation. While I haven't seen anything from the Troll Hunters or Dragons series to compare this to, the textures and lighting during this scene are incredible compared to any other 3D animated series I've seen. I mean, just look at this shot. This could be from a movie. The lighting work to create the thunderstorm environment just worked so dang well here, and I absolutely love it. I mean, Monsters at Work's animation is certainly nice and cozy, but there's yet to be a scene with such a dynamic feel on a TV budget. But yeah, I couldn't believe what I was seeing when I watched this scene. The third thing is the pacing. This scene is paced in such a way that it builds drama and suspense with each new thing that happens. From the Scorpios Rex discovering the cage, to the initial pounce, to the pause as the tree catches on fire, the scene has room to breathe. It isn't all wham, zam, stab, stab, stab. There's a rhythm and flow to it that make this reveal particularly dramatic.
And and the way it was originally scripted, the tree catching on fire doesn't happen until like towards the end of the sequence too. So a lot of things kind of like got jumbled up and switched to just kind of like make everything like stronger towards the end, you know?
The next thing is that this scene showcases the full extent of what makes this such a horrific abomination of a dinosaur. Its form is mutilated and unlike anything in nature. Its roar is hideous, it kills for sport, it's agile, quick, and nearly unstoppable. Not to mention the fact that it has quills containing deadly poison.
They gave me the note earlier on that to make even the way that it moves and stands very off-putting. And one of the ways that that I did it was kind of just inserting a little bit of like human characteristics to it, especially with those arms. And that shot especially, it's weird because it's something as simple as just kind of like moving its arm this way, like made it just so much creepier.
After being hidden for so long, it's incredibly satisfying to see the Scorpios Rex live up to all the hype. And the final thing this scene does right? Well, it follows the #1 rule of Jurassic Park, according to Patrick H. Willems.
The key rule of Jurassic Park, that it's at its best when it's nighttime and raining.
So what can we learn from this? Well, first is to make sure that if you build up something, be it a character, event, threat, or location, you'd better make sure it pays off in spades and lives up to the hype. There's no denying after this scene that the Scorpios Rex is a threat, and it's very satisfying after so many teases of its appearance.
Even from the script phase, it was already like meant to be very just moody and dark and really like kind of terrifying, especially since like E750's been teased all throughout the season. And just really bringing home and like paying off all their teases of how dangerous and how like scary it is. I felt like that was something that I definitely had to deliver in terms of like making it believable and like worth the wait.
The next lesson is to properly pace your action scenes. Too much of a good thing is usually a problem, and even if you have the most well-boarded, intense action, eventually your audience will tire of seeing the same thing. So throw some pauses in your action scene. Give the audience a chance to catch their breath. And finally, if something is scary, make it heckin' scary.
Anytime I'm given something that's like very suspenseful, I always try to just push it towards like the horror genre, especially with Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, where so much of it is all about like suspense and like kind of keeping the audience on their toes. But I think this is I would say the most atmospheric and the most like purposefully scary that I've boarded.
Go all out. Make there be consequences. The Scorpios Rex doesn't leave without making an impact. Heck, the entire next episode is devoted to finding the cure for its poisonous quills it left in Sammy. Its introduction is merely the beginning of the horrors in store for the kids brought on by the Scorpios Rex, and its presence is greatly felt throughout the next few episodes.
I'm always just dinosaurs in general, like have always left me in awe ever since I was a child. So anytime I have to board a dinosaur, I always like look at it from a child's point of view, in terms of look at this amazing creature that like is just beautiful. That's always kind of my end, just seeing like sort of like the spectacle of it. Definitely shout out to like the entire like production team and the entire story team that really came together and kind of like made the sequence that it is and the episode that it is.
So there you have it, yet another perfect animated scene in our collection. Thank you so much to Joe for coming on the show. Be sure to check out our interview where we talk about all things Camp Cretaceous and storyboarding and what it's like to be in the animation industry. And of course I want to hear from you, Dimension Hoppers. Do you watch Camp Cretaceous? Are you excited for season 4? And what other perfect animated scenes should I cover? Camp Cretaceous just won an Emmy, and that has me really excited to see what this show is going to accomplish as it keeps going. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you back in Dimension 1. Or 2. I'm not going to think about it. Bye! And that's another one perfect animated scene for you. This one was one that I had been wanting to talk about for a while, ever since I saw Camp Cretaceous Season 3, and honestly, given how late I tend to cover things on this channel, the fact that this has come out before Season 4 is kind of crazy. Once again, thank you to Joe for coming on the show and just being able to talk about Camp Cretaceous and his work on it. It was very insightful, and be sure to go watch our interview as well. Next one perfect animated scene? I'm thinking Hilda. So be sure to stay tuned for that, and have a great rest of your day, afternoon, evening, or night.